Hari Om Anita and Hari Om Aditi. Today, let us chant and contemplate on 2.59. Yes, please begin.
विषया विनिवर्तन्ते niraharasya dehinah rasavarjam raso apyasya param drstva nivartate. Aspirants may restrain the senses from their objects of enjoyment, but the taste for the sense objects remains. However, even this taste ceases for those who realize the Supreme. Vishaya, objects of senses, vinivartante, restraint, niraharasya, practicing self-restraint, dehinah, for the embodied, rasavarjam, cessation of taste, rasa, taste, api, however, asya, persons, param, the supreme, drstva, on realizations, nivartante, ceases to be. Uncle, from what I understood from the shloka was, so we have a certain goal to reach. For this, I am giving an example of a singer. We always focus on our success, and that is most people's greed, I feel. So, the thing that we have to learn is our way towards the success, because mostly people, they try to get their way up high very quickly, but that will not but I think that does not benefit us. So by actually improving your quality, in this case your ability to sing, that's when success is really reached. So I feel like if you create shortcuts and uh, you try to get different ways to reach there faster, it is not the right way of earning anything. So by actually putting proper effort and getting there is when you actually gain success.
Excellent, excellent. So when you say by focusing on right qualities, so here you are saying that here Krishna is talking about they give up their attachment to, say, objects of enjoyment. Only when they realize the Supreme can that also fall away, the taste for that fall away. So how are you relating that to the example you gave?
Yes, uncle. So what I was trying to bring in the connection was, so for example, when you are trying to gain success, you use money and other distractions to get your way up high. But by removing those distractions, not being um attached to these objects that can make it faster, and realizing that that is not the way to get up high, you can improve your qualities. That's how you actually reach success. So your ultimate goal is to become that good singer and not to put in money and do something that is not real.
Oh, excellent. So the here the Supreme is the best singer that one can be.
Yes, uncle.
And giving up is, initially, you may be giving up, you may be giving up your, say, the effort to be a good singer. You want it to be faster. So giving up that wrong understanding is the way to be a good singer, and to be focused on the qualities of a good singer is how you are relating.
Yes, uncle.
Wonderful. Very nice. So now tell me here, what is Krishna's meaning when he says objects of enjoyment, senses, one may restrain the senses from the objects of enjoyment? What does it mean here?
Uncle, that the objects are very temporary, that you shouldn't get very attached to the emotions that you feel with those objects.
Okay. And why is he bringing senses here?
Uncle, because I think each object has its own benefit for us. And
Mm.
if we stay attached to the benefits that it gives us, then we might get distracted and our final goal is not reached. So I feel like um, you can have that certain charm to it, or like
Mm.
if you like something, but you
Mm.
shouldn't get attached to it in a point that you're not able to focus on what you want.
That's how you're seeing it. Okay. All right. Wonderful, Aditi. And Anita, you are saying that you could not relate to this shloka.
Yes, uncle, because I think that even if you, when you take the example that Aditi gave, even if you decide not to use um, wrong methods to get famous or reach success, you cannot really you cannot really prevent wanting certain things in life, right?
Excellent. Excellent.
Uncle, in those cases, then we should hold back our greed, right?
Okay. So let's look at it in this way and then relate to the example that Aditi has given. So what does it mean when Krishna says restrain the senses from their objects of enjoyment? Let's take a simple example that Aditi has given. And what is the example Aditi has given? The example Aditi has given is one wants to be a very good singer. And one wants to be a very good singer is the goal. That's the aim. But then they may be drawn into a path of, okay, how do I gain that success? By quick fixes, maybe by bribing somebody, maybe by asking people to write about me, maybe by people, giving my songs to them freely. So can I gain the popularity? So why is that thought coming? Because there is a wrong understanding that it's the popularity that makes me feel nice. When I become popular, it'll be nice. So therefore, there is a wrong understanding that popularity is the one that brings me happiness. But is that the case? Is that truly the case? What brings me happiness? Because what I'm seeking is happiness. But out of what? Out of popularity. So therefore, I've taken the shortcut to popularity. But what is the reality? The reality is that it is the involvement and the depth that I accomplish in singing that is truly something that remains with me. It cannot be taken away. In the example that Aditi has given, we'll also look at it in another way. First, let's understand it from Aditi's example standpoint. So coming back to Aditi's example, what is more permanent? My learning of the craft of music. In what depth I know the raga, the tala, the singing and the voice modulation, and how I am able to master all of it is something that remains within me and that nobody can take away. But the popularity that comes by giving a bribe to somebody, tomorrow if somebody else gives a higher bribe to that paper, they may write about somebody else as more popular singer. So what the path I've chosen gives me a short-lived success, and therefore my happiness, which is dependent upon success, is also short-lived. So it can be taken away. Whereas when I realize that I am not focusing on success, but I'm focusing on being the best singer that I can be, then that being the best singer I can be cannot be taken away. Because every day I am involved in the craft and art of being the best singer. Because my aim is on much higher, which is being the best possible singer that I can be. The supreme, in this case, the supreme is being the best singer. So when my mind is focused on being the best singer, naturally, I drop attachment to shortcut methods. I no more am looking at popularity, because I know for a fact best singer doesn't mean people praising. Best singer means how well I know the craft and the art of singing. Do I have clarity about musical notes? Do I have control over my voice when I'm singing? And how much I enjoy when I'm singing. So the sense of enjoyment of singing itself takes away the need to be popular. There is one little story from the life of Saint Tyagaraja. You may know. The king of that province came to know that Tyagaraja, who always used to sing in temple, people used to throng to listen to him. People would come in droves to listen to him singing. Because in his singing, they all felt the quality of the divine only. They all felt a sense of enjoyment that no other singing could bring. So they all used to come. So the king of the province became really interested, and he sent his minister to invite him to come and sing in the asthana, in the king's court. Tyagaraja said, I only sing as a seva to Rama and only here. If your king is so interested, let him come. The king thought, let me tempt him. So he sent lots of gold and rich and said, please take this as dakshina from my king and come and please sing. Then Tyagaraja said, do you think this wealth that you're offering me is more? Is it more than the wealth that I feel in the presence of Lord Rama and when I'm singing here? Do you feel this wealth is more than that? So he composed a song, Nidhi Chala Sukama, Ramuki Seva Sannidhi Sukama. Which is greater wealth? So how he was able to overcome that temptation? Because anybody is usually tempted with gold and money and power and riches and popularity. How could he remain away from that? Because he had realized something far more deeper within. He had realized the enjoyment in complete involvement in singing itself. He was not singing to please someone. Because when you sing to please someone, if someone is pleased, they clap, you feel happy. If someone is not pleased and they walk away, you feel disappointed. Your enjoyment, your sense of satisfaction is now dependent upon somebody clapping for you, because you are seeking something from somebody. So your sense of satisfaction also is now dependent upon somebody. How am I popular? Are more people liking my posts in Facebook or Instagram or wherever? Oh, more people like it, so I'm more popular. So I seek pleasure from that. That is illusion. So therefore, here Saint Tyagaraja had realized something far more deeper that nobody can take away, that is within him. In that very involved singing, in that arpana, in the offering to Lord Rama, in that singing, he could realize that he and Rama are not different. He had realized his own nature. So in that nature, all other attachments had dropped naturally. So therefore, even when that gold and rich was brought to him, he was not tempted. Nidhi chala sukama, Ram ki seva sannidhi sukama. So that is how Aditi's story is. Another way I want you to consider is, see, the sense is the one which looks at something and says, I want it. Your eye sees something and says, want it. Why? Because you think there is happiness in that seeing. You want to keep seeing videos. You want to keep reading something. You want to keep looking at something. You want to hear something. Only when I hear that, I feel happy. Only when I taste something, I am happy. So like that, people get addicted to various things. Some people get addicted to smoking cigarettes because without that, they don't feel satisfied. So they become a slave of the sense. Some people become slave of maybe internet, watching YouTube, watching Instagram, watching Facebook. They become a slave of that. Without that, they feel insufficient. They feel dissatisfied. So for the time being, if let's say that addiction has become very deep and they cannot live without it, such people are called as addicts. You know, if somebody is constantly drinking alcohol and then only they feel nice, then, you know, they cannot function well in the world. If somebody is constantly focusing his or her energy in only internet, where is the time for their other activities? Especially if, let's assume, they're a student, how can they even study for whatever the aim they have put? So their mind is constantly away. So such a mind can be policed by bringing a stick, saying that no more you can drink, no more you can smoke. I'm going to take away that. I'm going to take away the computer or the mobile. Then what has happened? It is not in your senses, meaning it is not seen, it is not heard. But have you truly lost the desire to possess it? It has not still gone away. Because the taste for the sense object remains where? In the mind. Right now, laptop is not in front of me. But as soon as the laptop comes, I will only go towards it. So by removing it from the senses, the desire is not removed. The desire, the taste for the desire is still there. Where? In the mind. As what? As a seed, as a thought. So as soon as that object comes, you still want to possess it. You still want to enjoy it. Why is this happening? Because you've not yet found something better, something far more supreme. You think enjoyment is by listening to that music only. Enjoyment is by seeing that movie only. Enjoyment is by doing that whatever, you know, it may be Facebook posting, Insta posting, or spending time with your friends. Only in that enjoyment is there. If your parents or your society, or let's say you are a worker in an office, you're constantly spending time instead of working. You're constantly spending time in chatting with your colleagues. Then your boss may come and stop you. But the need to chatter is not removed. The boss is acting only as a police. Your parent is only acting as a police. For a drunkard, somebody may beat him up and say, if you drink again, I'm going to beat you up. So the fear of the beating may stop him from drinking. But has he truly lost the desire to drink? No. Why? Because he has not yet realized something is far more higher in life. That enjoyment is not because you possessed something, you consumed something. Your very nature is bliss. Your lack of clarity about who you are brought you to a state where you are now dependent on something for your enjoyment. Without Facebook, without Instagram, without music, without your coffee, without your cigarette, without your alcohol, you feel insufficient. You crave for it. And if somebody polices, it's a temporary relief, but it is not a permanent relief. The permanent relief is you realizing the truth. What is the truth? My very nature is that of bliss. Sat Chit Ananda. My very nature, when does it shine? When I give completely into an activity that is of value. So when Saint Tyagaraja would sing, all the others would feel the bliss. Why? Because in that moment, Saint Tyagaraja was completely involved, 100% dedicated to singing. And in that, he could help the others also to realize the Supreme. Complete involvement, dedication. Not because he was going to get something out of that. He was not singing because he was going to get praises. Praise was not his ambition at all. Why does a cuckoo bird sing? That's his true nature. It sings out of the joy of that inner being. Why do you have to be a good singer? Because as that power of the self, you can be anything that you wish for, through which you can be of value to the world. So why should you be an engineer? Why should you be a doctor? Why should you be a scientist? Why should you be a lawyer? Why should you be a dancer? To be the best in that. To be the best means what? Based on your own inner reality, your own capacity, not in comparison to someone. So, to bring the power of the self, a bird sings because it can sing. A fish swims because it can swim. An eagle flies because it can fly. As a human, through the mind of a human and through the body of a human, you have been given infinite capacities. To be a doctor, to be a singer, to be a scientist, to be a dancer, to be a... whatever you feel is the best way through which you want to express that inner joy. And you're doing this not because somebody will praise you, or not because you'll get money, because all these are temporary. Money will come, money will go. Praise will come, praise will go. If you work because you're going to get money, you will remain miserable. If you work because you're going to get praises, you will remain miserable. So realize the Supreme. Realize your true nature. So that's what Krishna means. Even this desire for all these cravings, the cigarette is taken away from the smoker, the alcohol is taken away, but his inner craving has not dropped. When does his inner craving go away? Truly when he realizes his true nature, that I am not dependent on this to feel that inner satisfaction. Then naturally the lower things drop. Naturally you give up. When does, say, preparing for an exam become important for you? When you see that how can I do the best in that exam? Not because I'm going to get something out of that exam. When would you give your 100% to, say, your craft of dance or music? When you see the supreme bliss in being the best that you can be. When the cuckoo bird is singing, it is not comparing, am I better than the other person? Am I better than the other cuckoo bird? It sings through its own inner joy in the best possible way that it can sing. And that's what attracts you. Because a cuckoo bird is not trying to imitate anybody. Is being the best that it can be. In that being the best that it can be, it has a natural quality. Ah, what a nice song the cuckoo bird sang. It is not doing that so that it can get your claps or praises. It is doing that because that is its nature. Is this bringing clarity to Anita?
Yes, uncle, I understood the shloka, but I have a question. So,
Yeah.
now I know that my nature is to be happy, and so it's not other objects that bring me happiness. But like you said, when there are certain things in front of me, I can't help but to use them, even though I know that it's not because of that that I'm gaining happiness. So, how do I use?
It's absolutely fine to use. Krishna is not saying don't use. Krishna is saying don't be an addict.
Okay, uncle.
So, for example, I feel happy only when I am constantly listening to, say, some music, or I am constantly chatting with my friends, or I'm constantly consuming some, say, food. Then you become addicted to that. There's absolutely nothing wrong in using what is in front of you. But for what purpose you use is also something that you need to examine. Am I doing this because I can get popularity? If a singer is doing that, then that is still out of incompleteness, lack of clarity. That popularity is a short-lived success. That money is a short-lived object. I will never ever get enough money in life because the greed for money can never be quenched. I need to definitely earn enough. But is earning money the object for which I am doing whatever I am doing? Am I studying because I want money? Then I will always remain unsuccessful. Why am I studying what I am studying? It may be whatever I am studying. Some may like math, some may like science, some may like physics, some may like art, some may like dance, some may like whatever. Subject is not important, but why I am doing what I am doing. What is the purpose of that? When it is the love for that, then naturally you will do well in that. And when you naturally do well, others will naturally recognize, and whatever is due to you will come. But I have to see that I'm not working because I can get something out of it. Is that answering Anita's question?
Yes, uncle. Thank you.
Now, can you say, Anita, what is that you understood and realized from this shloka and the discussion we had?
Yes, uncle. So, the main thing I understood is that we should realize that it's not because of other objects that we're gaining happiness, and that we're doing something for ourselves, and not because we're doing something for ourselves, and our nature is bliss. So it's not because of that thing that we are gaining happiness, and it's because of how good you are at it, and how much bliss it brings you. It's not because of other people and their opinions or what they think about us. It's because of our satisfaction and
So that is
um,
why when you do something for the benefit of others, that's your natural movement. Just notice when someone is, let's say, in need of water, when you offer water, or when you water a plant, or when you offer a biscuit to a dog, you naturally feel very satisfied, don't you?
Yes, uncle.
So, in terms of action, the nature of you is to be of help to others. So, Loka Kalyana, in the service of others. So, when your actions are oriented in the service of others, you are being your true self. So, that is how it looks in terms of action. And in terms of inner reality, you're not dependent on something to be happy. Even that action that you're performing is not because you expect them to stand up and pat your back. Oh, what a helpful work you've done. Not because of that. Not because somebody can give you certificate. You do it because that is your nature. Your nature, the nature of you, like sun. Sun shines and so many others benefit. Sun doesn't care who benefits, who doesn't get benefit. The nature of the sun is to shine in the best possible way. Nature of the water is to quench the thirst. Doesn't matter whose thirst am I quenching. So to be the best that you can be in whatever that you choose, and how to offer that to the benefit of in your own area of life. So Loka Kalyana. So when you dedicate that in the seva of the country, in the seva of the Bharat Mata, so that gives you right focus. Does that make sense?
Yes, uncle.
So Aditi, is there anything more you would like to say?
Uncle, not really. But wait. Uncle, I feel like in what Anita said, that when there's an object and you like doing that, I feel like if you're attached to something, instead of moving that thing away, by actually realizing why you should move it away, you should kind of bring in the better.
Excellent, correct. That's what it really means here. See, but the taste for the sense object remains. Your parent may come and take it away from you, your mobile or your laptop or your cigarette or your alcohol. Somebody may beat you. Out of the fear, you may stop. But when you have not for yourself realized, then it will still be lingering in your mind. As soon as that comes, you will still once again jump into that.
Yes, uncle.
Does Aditya want to share anything more on this shloka? Is there anything that you want to say based on your today's discussion that you heard?
Yeah, so I understood that when we have an attachment to an object, forcefully taking it away does not help us. But when we actually understand how our attachment to that object and our attachment to the object is affecting us in a bad way, and then we reduce using that, that's when we're actually happy. And yeah, and when we realize there's so much more than just the attachment and that object and the happiness that we're getting from that object, it's very superficial. That's when we're actually when we actually realized.
Yeah. So to realize the supreme means you realize the futility of that object, the short-lived happiness that object gives. You realized you are the very source of that happiness. And you realized that your actions are your natural expression of who you are. You're not seeking somebody's approval. You're not doing what you're doing, your dance or music or studies or something, because you will get something as a praise. You're doing it out of your inner ability to express that ability. All right. Is there anything more, Anita, Aditya, on this shloka?
No.
Okay. Then let me stop this recording.